Ah, I found the setting to just have it automatically record because I always seem to forget to press that button. So look at me learning.
You can automate trade, but you can't figure out Zoom.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty funny there, isn't it? All right, there we go.
You caught me right as I sat down with some cheesecake.
Nice. You got any extra? I would love some.
No, it's just one slice that my roommate brought me back from Cheesecake Factory.
Oh, perfect. That's the best cheesecake right there. Let's see. I'll just get this set up. So I'm pretty much just gonna run through the automation, answer any questions. I'm gonna set up one on like a really tiny time frame so you guys can like see it operating in real time, hopefully. Which definitely should be able to. So anyway, I've been working on this the last week or week and a half or something, making a bunch of extra adjustments and creating different rounding and I anyway, like it was a whole bunch of math and stuff that I've been doing the last week, but I am very comfortable with the results of how it's been operating. So it is time to take this updated automation to to you guys and also to me officially. So let's see. We'll just wait a few more minutes, but I can go ahead and start to share my screen. All right, looks like we're sharing. We'll just wait another minute or two. I don't know who else will be joining or not. I didn't give anybody really like a super big heads up, but we are recording, so it's all fine and dandy. So I released a video earlier today. If you were able to watch it, this might be a little bit repeating of what I'm going through, but I'm going to set up a strategy on I really want to do it on the 15-second, but I want to make sure that we have strategies fire in this video too. So I might just go ahead and do it on the 5-second. But normally I don't automate anywhere below the 15-second, like personally. But I'll go ahead and pull this up. So this is the new strategy, made it a lot more of a dynamic way to set things up. It's a lot easier. Um, a lot easier. Like I could have this all completely set up in about 2 minutes if I really wanted to, or if I wanted to spend some time to get it nice and perfect, or what I would consider perfect, then it might take you 10 minutes or whatever, but not like it was before. Luckily, we don't have to set up any ATM strategies or anything for this. So I'm going to throw this next one on my Sim 101 account. This is what I was using last week. And I reset it whenever I made like an update. So this is like Friday's P&L, and then this is just from tonight pretty much. So I'm going to set up a nice sort of basic strategy here just so you guys can see me walk through the process here. But your account name. So again, you can just use this NinjaTrader under the name tab. You'll type in exactly as it looks here. So I'm just going to change this to Sim 101. And if I wanted to put it on Sim 102 as well, I would just put a comma and then type out the name. This is case sensitive, so like if that was a lowercase, it's not going to go to that account. So you have to make sure that that is completely exact there. And then I'm going to throw this on the NQ. And so this is already set up for the NQ charts here. Let me pull it over. So you find that name up here in the top left of your NinjaTrader. And essentially, yeah, that's the only two inputs you have to make sure are correct within the JSON code now. So you don't have to do anything else. I'm just going to put it on this one account, put it on NQ, and the expiration date that's on your chart on the NinjaTrader. Now, if you want to do gold, you would just change this here to GC 1224, which again, I'll just show you where you find it. If I type in GC here, go to the chart, GC 1224. So that's what you would type in, just so we're all on the same page there. I believe at least the people that are already in the automation portion of it, I think you all get that part. But just wanted to reiterate there so there's no issues. So that's the only two pieces of the JSON code that you have to input in. The rest is all dynamically going to be calculated as you go through this. So we're going to be applying this to futures. Like if you wanted to trade stocks or something, you could change this to dollar value and all the calculations would then be correct for a dollar value as well. But futures, just keep it on futures. Make sure that this is on the asset that you are looking at up here. So NASDAQ. If you want to trade the micros, then those are here too. Just swap over to the micro charts. And then your position sizing calculations will then be correct. But for this purpose, I'm going to stick with NQ because I'm on a tiny time frame and I don't want to spend that much money in fees to buy and sell. If you guys have any questions during this, feel free to just ask as I go. And so account balance, you can input whatever number you want in here. Just make sure you use the right percentage of it. So I think it's easier to type in your drawdown amount and then a risk percentage of that drawdown amount. So this would be risking 10% of 2,500, which would be $250 in the trade. So if I bring up the strategy tester over here, you can see since we're on NQ, you can't get it exactly, but it's going to be right around $250 per trade that you're risking. And you can go through here and see exactly what's been going on with this specific strategy. Now, I haven't gotten to any optimizations or anything yet. But as you guys know, you can do buy and sell signals, or you can just do one or the other. If you just want to take longs, you can do that as well. And then your overbought, oversold level. So I'm just going to keep this at 70-30 for this example, just because I want you guys to see some iterations firing in it. So I'll go ahead and just toggle all of this off and we'll start nice and fresh. Make sure I don't have anything else on. Stochastics on. So there's a bunch of optimizations, as most of you guys know, to be able to apply to this. So just as the base strategy on the 5-second time frame, the last 4 or 5 days of price action would have yielded you 7.8K pretty much. Now, if we add some optimizations there, as you can see, this number here is massive. We're taking 784 trades in the last 4 or 5 days. So there's no reason to be taking that many. Let's drop this down by using optimizations to bring up our win rate. So just start with this. I'm just going to stick with buy signals for right now, make them as profitable as I can, while keeping this number fairly high. Let's just try that one. So all of these are explained in the compendium. I'm sure most of you guys know that by now, but what all these do and in like retrospect to the strategy, just added filters is the best way to put it. Let's see what we can get this up to here. If some work better than others or not. Again, this is a 5-second time frame. I have not taken a single look at it in a while, but we're gonna see if we can make this more profitable or not using these guys. And if these don't work as anticipated, as you can see, we're already profitable. And so as you add more optimizations to it, it could be taking away those profitable trades, which is really what that's doing there. So it's pretty much telling you you're already at your nice profitability. So I might drop this up a bit and see if we can include more trades to it. That actually did not help. Drop it down a bit as well. So this is just a bunch of customizing. We're going to stick with 30. I think I like that number. So yeah, we'll just keep it as that for now. So since we're on the 5-second time frame, I'm looking at a maximum distance of 10 points and my minimum distance is 0 points. So I'm going to bump this up to 1 maybe and see what that does to our overall profitability. As you can see, it jumped up a bit there. So we're negating enough losers that we're below 2 points of risk. What was that? All right, I'm going to keep going then. So now this is setting our threshold. It has to be more than 2 points of risk, but it has to be less than 10 points of risk associated here. So this would have, as you can see, we're getting lots of signals here. We just got one there, but I haven't activated it yet. So now you can also set several different risk to reward settings. So if you want to change this, like If you guys watched the video earlier, I went over this a little bit in depth, but between this 2 to 10 mark here, I put different thresholds into this. So now you can have more of a dynamic way to look at your as your take profits. Essentially, you can, like, your lower end of this, let's say it's between like 2 and 4 points of risk, is going to be looking at 2.5 R. And then between like 4 to 6 points of risk or something like that will be 2 R. And then anything higher than 6 all the way up to 10 would be 1.5 R. So you'll see how this plays out whenever I get the strategy activated and onto a chart over here. But I am really, really liking this implementation besides just targeting one specific R value. So any questions there before I move on? This is the bulk of kind of what is new to it. And then this is a maximum position size. I forgot to go over. Normally you don't need it, but that's just theirs to ensure that you aren't like buying too many contracts and, you know, spending a lot in fees, pretty much is what that's saying. So you can set this to whatever your max, like whatever account size you have. If you have like a 50K account, the maximum it'll even let you buy is 10 anyway. So let's see if that even changes any of these. So yeah, you would have bought 6 here. Still, you know, looks like we just had an order. All right, let me swap it over to the other account. Oh, that's why. Let me pull this up on screen so you guys can watch it. Okay, so we just had a strategy fire on this sim account here. Looks like a roughly 10 points of risk, 1.5 R trade here. So it was within my parameters here to be a 1.5 R, which I specified down here as the maximum. So it was on the upper side of the threshold here. And let's just put that on half the screen here for you. If it'll let me. It's not going to let me, is it? No. All right. Ninja Trader is sometimes a little weird with that. Doesn't want to split screen and whatnot. But we'll just do that there, and then we'll drag trading view. What is going on? We got too many things open. Drag this to over here. Just close out of that. So you can keep that on the side over there. That is the wrong one. This is the one we want. All right. So back to this. So this is like this is set up on a 15-second time frame here. This is the same account here that, you know, been watching. So it just had all the conditions met there, but I'm going to continue going through on the 5-second here so you guys can see an example of me setting up and whatnot. But I'm going to drop this back down to 5 because I don't really see the need. It's just going to potentially lower or make it, what am I trying to say? It's going to either lower the amount of profit that you made or lower the amount of loss. There we go. Wow, I don't know why that was so difficult to think of here, but this was actually a 1 R trade. I was looking at it backwards. So it was within that threshold to be 1 R. And yeah, that's pretty much the bulk of it there. So bulk of anything new, at least. So I'm not going to add any optimizations because I want to see, you know, so you guys can like see it operate. I really love the stochastics filter though, I will say. Now, normally it will, if you choose the right time frame and stuff, it'll bump your percent profitable up significantly. But it'll also negate some trades. But you know, like overall, since we're on the 5-second time frame, I'm going to drop this decently low here and just kind of see what time frames work well with the 5-second here. Might even have to go a little bit lower than that. Maybe a bit higher. Looks like the 5-minute works pretty decently.
Hey Ryan, just a quick question, mate. With the can you hear me okay?
Yeah, can hear you fine.
But with the different risks to rewards, is that basically based off the previous candles, the dynamics of the previous candles? Is that how it's sort of like you've got all those 3 different sort of risk to reward settings in there? Is that how it sort of calculates it, or so
let
it does
me,
does all that automatically, or like I'm
yeah,
just trying to figure out how to sort of understand.
it'll do it automatically. So as you can see here with this example that fired off right on this candle right here, pretty much. Let me just take
Mhm.
that off screen so you can see it. So we had a signal fire here. So pretty much what it's looking at is it puts this dot on your screen, okay? And it's looking at how many points is that between there and there. And then so what you have specified in here is if it's a small stop distance, which is a fraction of these two numbers,
Yep.
essentially,
Yep.
then it's going to be targeting a higher risk to reward. Now, if it, so
Gotcha.
this one only had 2 points of risk, so that's going to qualify it to be within that lower portion of this spread here. Oops, sorry, of this spread between 2 to 10 points. So now it's going to be targeting a higher R value as opposed to, let me find a different example here. That one might still be 2.5 R. This one may or may not be. I can't really tell by looking at it. But if we measure this guy down to where the dot is, that's 3.25 points. And then where it puts the green dot there is 5 points. This is a 1.5 R trade because it was in the medium of the risk to points risk. Does that make sense? So it's all based upon your points of risk. And then I specified it. This is the lower of the 25% of risk. So it'd have to be between like 2 to 4 points of risk to get a 2.5 R. And then it would have to be like between 4 and 6 points, I believe, to be a 2 R. And then anything above the 6 points of risk can be targeting this lower one. So it goes 25%, 25%, upper 50%. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So you recommend just sort of keeping it at that, the 2.5, 2, and 1.5?
That's going to be dependent on what time frame you're looking at, really. You could do 2.5, 1.5, and 1 if you want a higher win rate associated. This is a pretty good starting place for almost every time frame that I've looked at because 2.5 R is profitable, and then if you mix in these combinations here, it'll be potentially more profitable because you'll be capturing more wins than losses ideally. I will say if you're using a fresh account, like you have, like you're not in a PA where you have like a little bit of a comfort zone between the stop, like you're not being trailed on your stop loss essentially, then go with the bit of lower values. Maybe go with 2, 1.5, and 1, something along those lines because of that trailing stop loss. Something along these lines would be more apt. And again, you can see all the results in real time here. As you can see, our profitability went down from about 7,000 down to about 5, but our win rate went significantly up. So it's just something that you're going to have to apply on a time frame by time frame basis.
Yeah. So if it's trailing, go smaller. If it's not trailing, go bigger. Was that what you were saying?
Yeah. That's essentially. I wouldn't go below 1 though. I would set that as your minimal amount, personally. So I'm working on also figuring out how to incorporate when you get to a certain R value that you can specify into it, that it can potentially move this up. I haven't quite figured it out yet, but I'm on the right trail. That'll be a next major update to this, is figuring out how to put a break even into it. That way you can target the higher values on a more general basis. So that is hopefully going to happen this week or so. We shall see on that. But yeah, what was I doing? I had the stochastics turned on. I was going to do the same for this. Put that on there. Make sure I have cells on. And then I can turn this guy on too. So as you can see, in the last 4 days, this created 16,000 worth of profit. And I, spent a couple of minutes setting this up and not even really, going through a lot of the settings. A lot of these are additional. Like if I were to turn these on, potentially it might drop, my profitability. But if you find the right time frame here, maybe like 15 minutes, since we're on a really low time frame, it could definitely boost it up as well. But sometimes it just negates too many trades. As you see, we dropped down about 300 trades or something like that. Also with this new update, I will say you're getting a lot more trades, which is great. And so you're getting a lot more back tested data to trust these numbers a lot more too. So that is one major reason why I really, really like this update to this new way to implement the same strategy, just with different risk parameters, essentially. So let's compare that to what it was. So we have about 552 trades, roughly 50% there. So this doesn't help it too much, but it does bump our win rate up a bit. So maybe we're close to the pocket here, but just not quite. Let's see if that works a little better. Let's try a little bit higher. So we'll stick with the, I think it was 5 or 3 minute. Yeah, we'll stick with the 5 minute there, 5 minute here. And as you can see, we still have roughly 500 trades being fired off. So I'm very comfortable with going ahead and throwing this on. So I'll just go through the settings one more time. My account and the asset that I'm going to apply it to. This is matching what's up here. So, you know, all of the, just one quick check is to make sure that your profit is within pretty much one standard deviation away from where you set your limits at. So our account balance, we're wanting to risk 10% of our account balance. So it should be relatively close to 250, the majority of your trades. And then these numbers are going to change based upon if it was 1.5, 2, or 2.5 of our ratios associated with there. So as you can see, this one might be a loser, which is totally fine. I had 2 winners back to back. You know, just last couple hours or so. So as one would expect, all looks pretty good there. So we'll just go ahead and turn this guy on. Alert function calls, set it up with the webhook. And maybe we can see another couple fire off during that time. But as you can see, it is quite a bit easier to set up than the previous version of it. You know, it's all pretty standardized. You don't really have to change these numbers if you don't want to, but whatever you find to be the most profitable for whatever time frame you're looking at. So yeah, any other questions? The shorts have been more profitable than the longs, which one would expect after a Friday last week.
Do you have a bit of an outlook for NQ and gold for the week? Because I know that you're looking at whether it was going to sort of build in that sort of lower low.
Yep. So, you know, 4 hour, pretty damn bearish. We kind of rejected our EMAs fully crossing here. And now we, you know, Friday was just a major sell off on literally every asset for the most part. So overall, we're probably going to be looking as shorts are the more efficacious way to go. So, you know, what that pretty much tells me is use more optimizations on the longs than on the short side. And pretty much the same thing here on the 12 hour. Now we are getting pretty oversold, which is totally understandable. So essentially going into it, I would definitely be expecting this 200 EMA on the 24 hour to at least have some resistance. I would think end of the week, we're probably going to blow through this resistance, you know, unless circumstances change drastically. But, you know, at the present moment, I would be setting up to where shorts are more efficacious in a way. So be targeting more on the short side than the long side. As you can see, my last 2 trades were shorts, and this is the one long, and it's, you know, not wanting to go to profit. So and it just is what it is. I'm not going to change anything about it, mostly because this is on a testing environment anyway. I want to make sure everything is working nice and safe, at least this first day, because I incorporated this logic with the different long targets and short targets today. But I mean, I've had several trades go off and it'd be perfect so far. So I wasn't very worried about that being an issue at all. So yeah, so in short, I would be, you know, looking more at the shorts for the beginning of the week to be more efficacious. And then towards the end of the week, longs are probably going to be the route to go again as we approach this 200 EMA, maybe get a little resistance here. Now, if you had the indicator here and we started to see this 4 hour start to tick up, which you can find, I have strategies automated down here. Trading plan 1, if you see a 4 hour strategy down here fire off, it's probably going to be a good sign that we're going to be looking more at longs to be efficacious going forward. But yeah, that was a good question for sure.
Yeah, and so gold, you're expecting the
roughly
opposite,
roughly the same atmosphere there. I mean, gold is a little bit more bullish if you just take a look at just the EMAs, for example. I mean, still well above. It's not even close to its daily 200 yet. And so I would definitely be leaning more towards towards the end of the week to be more of a bullish outlook than NASDAQ per se. But you know, middle of the week or so, I would definitely be looking at a bounce. And the stronger of the bounces is probably going to be in gold. I don't know if you saw, they just released it yesterday. I think it was yesterday. It might have been this morning even. But Russia just announced a $1.9 trillion buyback in gold. So that's probably a nice little bullish sign, as well as, you know, it's not looking bearish, you know, but we've just been going sideways for the last, you know, roughly 2 weeks or whatever. But this new strategy here is a lot more efficacious towards scalping. So finding small moves in the market and adjusting to where you know, like the points of risk and everything, to be able to target multiple different risk to reward settings out of it, and not just be looking at, you know, just 2.5R, which hasn't been very nice to us in the last 2 weeks, because we've just been looking for what the market has been doing in the past months, but in the last 2 weeks, it's just been going sideways, like literally just sideways. So yeah, so this is a lot more efficacious of a way to go about things. Now, this strategy I have over here on the 15-second, I believe it was like right at a 50% win rate or so. And so, you know, and the shorts were more efficacious than the longs on the setup. But overall, you know, I'm not going to change it. I'm just going to let it run and do its thing. I will bring that up just a little bit, so it's more of a exact 1R spread here. But yeah,
just with the evals, or even in the live PA accounts, how many sort of trades a day would you sort of recommend? Like, obviously there's tons and tons of trades that are going off daily, just as obviously not, you know, having any sort of red flags go up or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, again, that's all on the time frame that you want to look at. You know, I've already had, this is my third go off since the day started. And you know, I like the strategy that I had put on this 15-second time frame. So, you know, I'm really just gonna let it go. Now, whenever it hits a profit target of yours, you know, for the day, like there is rules on your eval accounts and whatnot. You know, you don't want to make more than, I think it was like 30% of your total profit or whatever in that day. We just got a 5-second fire off. Let's take a quick look at that. So it's also looking like a long. And it just goes straight up. That's awesome. It's what we like to see.
Easy money.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, we'll see. But with this new order cancel other order scenario here, I wouldn't recommend having, like, you're going to get a lot more trades with this setup here. So you don't really need to have multiple timeframes, multiple assets on the same account, to be honest. Now, if you're looking at the 5 minute, you know, you might get like 1 or 2 trades a day. I'm automating on the lower timeframes, personally, just because, especially since like the market's kind of changing right now. Like, to me, I don't want to be looking at previous months of price action and trying to build something off of the last previous months, when see, we just got both of our orders filled there out, and looks nice and pretty. So So yeah, I'm automating on the small time frames because it's looking at the most recent of price action. And I think that, you know, to me, I think that that's the better way to be going about things at the present moment. But yeah, that's just my input on that at the present moment. And that's only
cool.
because
Yes.
market environments
Fif-
are definitely changing right now. So
Yeah, the 15-second looks pretty good, like a fair few trades. I'm just sort of thinking I might sort of set a a daily profit target and then just let the trades roll out, and once that's
yeah,
hit, then
I
fantastic. Go to the next
think that
day.
would be good. What's up, Daniel?
Order filled.
Got another one. Looks like a nice 1 hour trade. On the 5 second, we're probably gonna get them like, you know, a couple of minutes or, you know, whatever, something along those lines. And to me, I don't want to automate that much. There's just no reason. I think, you know, to me, anything below the 15 second is just garbage times, in my opinion. But even the 15 second could be seen that way. But I've been getting really good results off of it. So don't talk shit on something that's working, I guess.
Can you check the chat, bro? Can
What's up?
you check the chat?
Yeah, maybe. Zoom pulls up 2 different windows for me. I don't really know why it does that. I don't see the button for it. Maybe it's because I'm screen recording and I can't look at it. Or screen sharing.
He's basically said, would you suggest to only use the new update OCO, not use the old one?
Oh, honestly, it's way easier and it's, yeah, like I'm only using it going forward if that gives you any hint there. The other way is perfectly fine and dandy still, but I think this is a better way because we are getting more data in our strategy tester for one. Oh, I'm on the wrong time frame now. We're getting a lot more trades to trust this data a lot more. All right, I must have changed something around here. Oh, I'm looking at gold. That's probably why. So you're looking at a lot more trades, a lot more data to be looking at here. So for one, that is a major reason why I would say, you know, this is the more efficacious way. The only reason why you might want to use the other way is because you can use auto break evens, and that's that's pretty much the only reason to me. But like, you're not going to have your stop loss in your exact point. Like, you know, let's say you had your maximum stop loss in the previous version. Where's that at let's say 20. Your stop loss based upon the ATM strategy is going to be at 20 instead of it automatically adjusting to, you know, 3 points or whatever like the actual adjustment was. So in short, I am only going to be using this updated strategy here. The other one still works perfectly fine and dandy if you prefer it for whatever reason. But yeah, I'm gonna be solely going forward with this one.
Yeah, cool. His other question was also, since this is not using ATM on a disconnect, it will successfully cancel the order when one is filled like OCO.
I haven't seen that. I haven't disconnected, but it should still keep your orders on the order book. Does that answer the question? I don't think that it would you know, take them off or anything along those lines. Now with the ATM strategy, it probably would. Actually, I don't even know on that either. I don't disconnect very often at all, so that's kind of a hard question for me to answer.
Have you been getting, you know, fairly similar results with both gold and MNQ, or?
Yeah. Now it just depends what optimizations you put on there and what time frame you're looking at. Since gold moves quite a bit slower than NASDAQ, you're not going to get as many trades. But I find that gold is a little bit more it's a slow mover, so it makes it a little bit more reliant in that matter. You know, if some news comes out or whatever, NASDAQ goes absolutely nuts, but gold, you know, might move kind of quickly, but comparing the two, you know, you just get more trades with NASDAQ, and as long as I feel confident enough with the way NASDAQ is going in the future, then I'll probably just be sticking with that. So we just had a loss here for 1 hour. Looked like about roughly this says 330, but what was that, 525? So it was how it executed was actually at 300, not 330, is this portrayed here, but still very close enough.
And just a quick one as well, like just say you are in a trade and you want you know, you don't want to just say you've got 2 time frames going. How do you pause the alerts if you're in one trade and you just want that to play out?
So if I wanted to,
right, okay,
got another one there. Yeah, you would just click this pause button here, stop it, and then that'll stop this 15-second from going anymore. Now, if you want to turn it back on, you just click on that. So like if you want to set up this, I will say also this OCO strategy version of it, it makes it a lot better to actually be trading like the 15-minute, the 1 hour, the 5-minute, whatever you want to, like it's a lot better for these time frames now, I will say, instead of just focusing solely on the lower ones. I would say it's just as equally as effective on all time frames now. Because before we had to set an ATM strategy up and it was just a little too much math and whatnot to be put into it. But this will calculate your proper position size and everything for every single time frame. And you know, you still get a crap ton. So like, let's just quickly, you know, take a look at what I might do for like let's not do the 4 hour, but maybe like the 15-minute. That way, you know, you might get like, I don't know, 5 or so 15-minute trades in a week, I would think, at least, depending on what optimizations and stuff you use. So I'm going to reset these values down to, I don't know, maybe 35. Have to bump that up quite a bit since you're on the higher time frames. Maybe we go a little bit higher than that as well. So that seems to be looking pretty good. 44 trades with these optimizations, and it's because these guys are on. So 233 trades on the 15-minute, looking back, a good amount of time there. So, you know, as you go up, you're going to be looking back farther in time. So there is that. But pretty much you would set everything up here the same. I'm looking at NASDAQ. I'm going to risk $250 per trade. As if you look at the list of trades, we are right in the ballpark there. Now, you would want to go down to micros for this. As you can see, like you don't want to be risking 460. So I'll go ahead and swap over to the micros so it's a little bit more exact. Just change this guy to MNQ. And now our numbers will populate here. A lot closer to $250 since we are now getting almost exact there. So I can also bump this up too. So we're not limiting ourselves too much, but we don't want to be buying too many either. So fees aren't super high, but I'd be comfortable with 10 for sure. I think 15 should be the max.